Vande Mataram. Dear friends, when we speak about the fall of Mughals and then just the starting of the British Empire, there was a lot of turmoil. The Mughals fell, Aurangzeb died. All his viceroys, whoever was there, they have declared independence. In the same way, the Nizams of Hyderabad, they were the viceroys of Aurangzeb, Mughal Empire. They too declared independence and they have started their dynasty called Asif Jahi dynasty. And they started calling themselves as Nizams. So Nizams of Hyderabad are very famous. They ruled almost for 2 centuries. They ruled with the help of and with friendship of British. They ruled. They did not fight against Britishers. So they ruled and they were very happy and they were interested in art, architecture, religion, literature, everything. Hyderabad was named, before it was called Bhagyanagar, and they have renamed it as Hyderabad. Nizams of Hyderabad, they say just before independence, the last Nizam of Hyderabad was the richest person in the world. So, they were very wealthy people. They created wealth, they possessed wealth, and all over the world artifacts were possessed by them. Nizams, they say the first Nizam, he was in the spree of expanding the whole empire, and they called as the whole Hyderabad Nizams the richest people. And there is a story also that one of the eldest, the first Nizam, met a holy person, and the holy person asked him, he gave him kulchas and asked him to eat kulchas. And then said, you eat how many you can eat. Nizam didn't understand and he ate 7. And he said, it's enough, 7 kulchas are enough. Then the holy man said, 7 generations will rule your kingdom. So your kingdom will be there only for 7 generations. You ate. Nizam never understood this. He never knew such thing will happen. Because he ate only 7 kulchas, they say, only 7 of them, the 7 Nizams ruled for 200 years. In fact, they were very good and they did fight with the small kingdoms and annexed them. And they also had an organized army. It was like, and they fought with everyone who has come on their way. When India got independent, they have declared themselves independent from Britishers. They did not join either India or Pakistan. They had their own independent kingdom. The last Nizam, they ruled up to the 19th September of 1948. Though 47 we got declared, they did not join. And Indian soldiers, and especially Patel, Sardar Patel, he raised a war against the Nizams. And during that fight, for 4.5 days, there was a police action also. Because people were Hindus, the king was a Muslim. And he didn't want to go to Hyderabad with the Pakistan or with India. He had a separate coinage, he had separate military, separate police, everything separate. Just imagine a kingdom in the middle of India which is not belonging to either India or to anybody. The national leaders didn't like it and they raised a war, and that was called as Rajakar movement. And they annexed the Hyderabad to India. Though it got in 1948, it got annexed, it was not included with the states of India till 1956 when the linguistic states were formed. Till then, it did not go as separate as Andhra and became capital of Andhra Pradesh. So till 56, it was ruled as the Nizams. The last Nizam actually died only in 67. He was there. Nizam rule, if you see, Hyderabad is a treasure house of richness. He has agreed for the religious, they never wanted them to convert into Muslims. He kept all the Hindus as such. There was quite a bit of Muslim Islam people in the kingdom, and good literature has come out, art has developed, architecture has developed, and all the sciences they developed because they wanted a separate kingdom for them. So they have taken care of engineering, they took care of science, they took care of art and architecture, and they opened many colleges like engineering colleges, degree colleges, medical colleges, so much. In fact, after the 7th Nizam, many things have been named after him in Hyderabad, like Nizam College, Nizam Museum. There is a Salarjung Museum which is very famous. The art pieces, the collection of Nizams all over the world has been kept there. Just imagine a big museum was opened, what the collection was by the Nizams. Such great grandeur life they had. They are Nawabs, and the Nizams, you find them that they loved art, architecture, beauty. That was the most important thing. And they had many wives, and their aim was only to rule the best. Because from the Mughals they have come and they were ruling on behalf of Mughals, and then they declared independence. Nizam is the most important. They have the mansions, Hyderabad mansions. Mir Usman Ali Khan was the last Nizam, and this Nizam actually died in February 1967. And Jamia Nizam University is there, Nizam College is there, museum, State Railways, Institute of Medical Sciences, jewels of the Nizams, all the jewelry of Nizam is also on the exhibition. It has a great value for it. Nizam Sagar is there, Nizam Diamond. All these are actually named after Nizam. Because even today people respect Nizams of Hyderabad, the local people also, because a lot of work has been done by Nizams. Even after independence, Hyderabad came to us very late, and till today we do find some problems there always, because when they have annexed, they have clubbed both Andhra, Telugu people and Telangana people, and it was done in a very hurried way. So the problems do have, but still it has a richness of wealth, both in agriculture, because good rivers flow there, not in Hyderabad but in Andhra, and they have the Golconda is a very famous monument. You have Charminar, a very famous monuments are there in Hyderabad. Everything has been taken care by the Nizams. So we should salute Nizams who have made the life of people very good, and they have given the rich heritage. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Mataram. When Mughals fell in south, many of the kingdoms started fighting, and one of the kingdoms was the kingdom of Travancore, where Martanda Varma, at a very early age of 20s, he took over the reins of Travancore. It was a rich heritage kingdom, and at that moment there was a Dutch power there, and he wanted to take out the Dutch power from Kerala, Malabar area. He wiped out the Dutch power with the help of English, and he has seen that the whole Travancore becomes a treasure wealth of Malabar, and he wanted complete Dutch to be gone. But when they were fighting, he actually imprisoned their man of the warfare who knew, and made friendship with him, and made him to teach his own people, his army, the tactics and techniques of warfare. So he expanded and he established many institutions in the Travancore, especially as the irrigation, agriculture. And for agriculture he wanted water, so he built many of the dams for irrigation. So he is considered as a good king in Travancore, and because at the early 20s he took over, and with the help of English, he always ran the kingdom in a very nice way. He had a good prime minister called Ramaya, and Ramayan was always helpful to him, and he instructed Martanda Varma how to rule as good friends. But in one of the battles, Ramaya died, and that was a big blow for Martanda Varma. He did not have heir apparent, so he called his nephew and handed over all the things, and he has instructed everything, especially of the Padmanabha Swami temple. He handed over the keys 150 years back and told him what all to do, how to reserve the wealth of the country, and also he instructed to be friendly with English, not to fight with them, and at the same time to be guarding the treasure. Today, after 150 years, we understand how Martanda Varma has saved the treasure of Malabar or his Travancore by keeping the whole treasure in the temple underground, which has come out today. In those days they didn't know, but they know that all instructions were given to his nephew how to safeguard. But none of them knew what are the instructions given, because even the person who got the instructions just handed over the instructions to the next generation. Only now we understand the whole treasure has been kept under the Padmanabha temple, because they were ruling it and they were maintaining the temple. So the temple was not handed over to anybody, and he said not to hand over, to guard the treasure of the country. How best planned way. None of the kings in the past have done this, what Martanda Varma has done. He has kept the whole treasure and given to the god, and as a god, you take care of your treasure. And up to now it was taken care. Such great, understand, a visionary you can call. Martanda Varma was the real visionary. He took care of agriculture, he took care of the trade, he took care of irrigation, and he took care of the education, and he also took care of the wealth of the country, and he knew how to save it. We have to understand, we have to know, because the money part was not the saving. He said the real saving is the gold, silver and gems, which have to be so. Today again the whole world talks about it. They don't say you save money. Even Americans, they say now you buy gold and save it in the form of gold. So he taught us long time back how to preserve the wealth. We have to salute Martand Verma for showing a way for Indians how to safeguard their belongings. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. In Punjab, Sikh Empire rose to power after the death of Aurangzeb. During the time of Aurangzeb, Sikhs did suffer a lot. But after his death, they have declared themselves and Sikh Empire was started in Punjab. The first of its kind was Mahasingh, who was the chief commander of Ismail Misal. He took over and he started Sikh Empire, and his son Raja Ranjit Singh took over the reins of the kingdom. He established and he expanded. Not only expanded, they are the mighty warriors, but they never forced anybody to become Sikhs, to adopt Sikhism. Though Sikh Empire was there, nobody was compelled to take Sikhism because it is an offshoot of Hinduism. Whoever wanted, they can. And they all followed Guru Nanak Dev and Guru Gobind Singh, who has a descendant of Guru. He coronated Ranjit Singh as the king of Sikh Empire. Ranjit Singh was a great king and also lover of religion, art, literature, and he always took care of his people. Once a Britisher, he never wanted to fight Britishers unnecessarily, a friendly way to go, but he always was a nationalist. The moment once a Britisher asked his chief minister that, "We heard Ranjit Singh has only one eye. What about it? How do you say?" The chief minister said, "Sun has only one eye. Sun is not having two eyes. The sun has only one eye and he is looking at the whole world. So when I see him, with that one eye is enough for us, with the brightness and the emphasis which gives, none of us are bothered about the second eye. We don't even see." They say that Ranjit Singh has one eye, but he is a great, wise king and intellect king. So Ranjit Singh took care of everybody, and Sikh Empire allowed people to follow their religion too. And the temple, especially Amritsar temple, was under their control, and a lot of gurudwaras were constructed and temples were constructed there. Everybody followed there, and he has seen that the Punjab, more and more people come and start staying in Punjab, and he gave importance to agriculture. Wheat paddy grew during his time. People became really warriors. The Sikhs are considered to be the very mighty people. Even today, most of them are in the military. Sikhs follow the Khalsa, they say Khalsa, they follow these, their fighting, they go to Gurudwara, they spend their time with God, and they also believe in not going astray with common. All the attractions which are there, social attractions, doesn't bother them much. They grow hair. People are used to get confused because the moment you get into Punjab, that was the time when it started, all of them were looking alike. All of them were growing beard, hair, and they had turban. So everybody was looking the same. But though it was a confusion for everyone, the empire, that became actually oneness. That showed that oneness for them, and they felt that togetherness only helped them to be today together and achieve anything what they want. Once a Sikh gives a word, he keeps the word up to the last. And that was what Raja Ranjit Singh taught them. Keep up to the word. Dear friends, we have to learn from Raja Ranjit Singh not only the mightiness and the involvement in every work, but also when you give a word to somebody, you should keep up your word and work accordingly. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. Dear friends, the rule of Britishers, though they ruled 200 years, but the actual governance was only for 90 years. And before they could really establish themselves and have the British Raj, there were a lot of people fighting against them. Especially the first one to raise war against Britishers, raise the voice against British people, was none other than a lady who came out, and she was Jhansi Ki Rani. She was in the court of Marathas, and her father was working in the court. So she lost her mother when she was very young. Her name was Manikarnika. Everybody used to call her Manu. In fact, the king used to call her Chabeli, because she was very, very hilarious and make everybody fun-loving. She used to play, and very good, very principled. So once the king thought, Gangadhar Rao, it is better to the king got her married to Raja Gangadhar Rao, and she became the queen. At the age of 20, they adopted us, because they lost a child at the age of 4 months, and then they thought they should not wait, and they adopted a son. After their adoption, at a very young age, Jhansi Ki Rani became widow. So she has to take the reins of the kingdom in her hand. She declared herself as the queen of Jhansi and ruled. But every day it was a turmoil between her and the Britishers. Britishers did not agree her ruling, because they did not agree an adopted child to be the king to take over the reins of the kingdom. So she has to fight. They didn't agree to give the kingdom to her also. They said, we will give you income, some income we will be giving you, and you have to pay tax to us, and you have to be under us. She didn't agree that. She wanted to go. So the first war of independence, first freedom struggle war, started with her fighting with the Britishers. It was 1857 war, is called as the first independent war. And the lady, the queen, fought. It is amazing that a tender girl who was hilarious at the age of very young age, she took over the reins and she fought these Britishers, and she thought that they are outsiders. They don't belong to this country, and she didn't want their rule on her. So she fought in the battlefield. She had many good loyal people, and especially Tantia Tope, who helped her at a later stage, and he was there with her until the last. But After his death, she became alone. She fought. Her loyalties were so good that even her horse was very loyal to her. She tied her son, the son was very young, small boy, she tied him across her waist on the horseback. She went with the sword to fight Britishers. She was in the front of her army to fight people. But many of them died because Britishers were powerful, they had the modern amenities with them. A modern warfare was there where Indians were lacking in that. The mightiness they were not lacking, but they were lacking the technology. They were lacking the modern amenities. So before losing, she did not die in the battlefield. So her horse, the moment she came to know, because she got wounded. When she got wounded, her horse took her away from the battlefield. Do you know where she took? It took her to Gwalior. Gwalior king was there, Scindias, they were there, the elder Scindia. He said he will help her. She was there that night. But the next day, early in the morning, she understood something wrong will happen. She took her horse and she jumped the walls. It so happened, people say that her horse was changed. Because her horse was very loyal to her, and she would have got escaped if it was her horse. It is not her horse. When she jumped, horse gave up and it died there. And where the horse died, even Jhansi Ki Rani, she died in Gwalior. Afterwards, they came to know that she died there and she did not die in the battlefield. Her son afterwards went and he lived. They say Britishers took care of him and they gave him money. They gave him to live. Though he was fighting for his rights on the kingdom, they did not hand over the kingdom, and he lived and he died only in early of the 20th century. Dear friends, none of us can forget Jhansi Ki Rani. Jhansi Ki Rani, Lakshmi Bai, her name. After she got married, it was become Lakshmi Bai. So who can become? She is a real great Lakshmi. She is by name as Lakshmi, but Parvati is in her. She was very good, and I always feel every woman in this country should possess that valor and power what Rani Lakshmi Bai had. Dear friends, let us salute that great lady who fought the first war against Britishers, who raised her voice against them. She was the one who came out. And let us all salute her. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. We cannot forget the ruling of British. It is called British Raj. The British Raj was there from 1858 after the freedom struggle of war till 1947. Almost 90 years their Raj was there. We also, though a lot of problems are there in every part of the country, we also have to hail their governance. The first they have instituted the governance. There were almost like 600 and odd princely states. They brought 170 princely states under one governor and kept 500 princely small states again separately, but all will be under them. we can say for the first time the whole Bharat has been unified as one country, and they brought it together under one governance. Till then, it was all princely states and different dynasties were ruling all over the country. It was never as one country or one government. It was Britishers who brought the whole of princely states under one rule called British Raj, and they unified the whole country. And after they have unified it, they have, for easy governance, centralizing the governance, they have made 8 provinces. And the provinces they have called as Burma provinces, Bengal, Madras, Bombay, United Provinces, and Punjab and Assam. United Province, we had all, like everything was under their control. The Madras province had complete Andhra and Karnataka. Everything was Tamil Nadu, everything was under Madras province. So it was provinces, 8 provinces they had. They did not have so many states and all that. They had only 8 provinces, and they have controlled for each province. They had viceroy, they had chief ministers, they had people to take care of. And unified governance was brought. They were the ones who have brought a lot of scientific things to this country. They have modernized the country. The first railways were laid by them, telephones were introduced to this country by them, electricity was introduced to this country by them. They have introduced many of the things. We should thank them. Though they have come, though they have harassed our people, but still they have introduced many of the new things in this country. The postal system was established. The railway system was established. So many institutions like the modern amenities have been instituted. The schools have come up. The formal schools have come up. Gurukulas have been replaced by schools, and the formal schools, universities have come up. The formal education started under them. Lot of activities have taken place under this Raj, and they have unified it. But then the Raj had to fall one day, and in 1947 they have declared India as free country, but they also played a game. The game, they have divided us into 2 countries. Their rule was that. Their rule was divide and rule. That's what they did. They divided Hindus and Muslims, which then, even in Mughal time, we were not separate, we were together. But they separated our minds as Muslims and Hindus. They divided, and they divided the country also into 2 as India and Pakistan, and they declared independence and gave it to us. But did we get this independence that easily? No, dear friends. Let us see in the how our people fought for it. British Raj, no doubt it ruled, and it has brought all good things, all the new amenities into the country. The modernity has started, but we have to learn one thing from them. They were very obedient to their queen. So that obedience what they had, we should be obedient to our people. They wanted, their aim was only to win and annex. So we should not have hatred, because they were also our rulers. Like many kings have given us so many things, even they have given many of the things, and we should know how the struggle took place under their Raj. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. Dear friends, when Britishers were ruling, till then only the kings were fighting with everybody. But here, the commoners have come onto the road to fight. You find many social reformers, moderates and extremists. All have come onto the road to fight, ask for their right. Many of the leaders or national leaders have come across. Maybe they are writers, they might be their farmers, they might be their scientists, they might be their writers. Whatever field they were, they came out in one voice, that is freedom for this country. So we all call them as freedom fighters. There were many freedom fighters. To start with it, first we had Gopalakrishna Gokhale in the early 1870s. He was the one first to, after Lakshmi Bai, he raised the voice against the Britishers. He became the first president of Congress, and then he started unifying it and social reform. As a social reform, he came on. Then you had Bal Gangadhar Tilak joined him, and Rajaji joined him, and many of the people joined. Raja Ram Mohan Rai, from a social worker, Subhash Chandra Bose, everybody. Each one said, take the Raj from, and the main character which got introduced was Gandhiji. He started fighting in Africa and he landed in India. He thought that he has to fight for Indians staying in India. So he came back. Same way, Jinnah from the Muslim side, he came out in and voiced against Britishers to help his people. There were various social reformers, extremists and also moderates. Extremists like Bhagat Singh, Azad, all came out to fight. You find Ambedkar, who was a lawyer. So you see most of the lawyers are on the road, most of the writers have come. They were having their own newspapers and writing. The pen became the weapon now. Before it was the weapon which was speaking, and the freedom struggle, it was not just the weapon. No, we never used. The commoners did not use the weapon because they were not having. They used the pen and they used the voice. And they were meeting, talking and raising their voice against the British Raj. So social reformers and extremists, the commoner became a real powerful person during this time, which was not there before. Because before there was no need for them to raise against the king. Two kings will fight and then they have to listen to which king was. Here, a commoner came out because there was not one king who was raising their voice against them. Though they were raising, they were not powerful. So they thought this power, that is the people's power, came in and they taught us. So we have to salute all the reformers, all the extremists, or the moderates, whomever we call, they all are freedom fighters. And we will be talking about each freedom fighter, what they gave us, how they helped us. But as a total, let all of us stand up and salute our freedom fighters and tell this world that every common person has a power within him. They taught us that we have somewhere innate power, and we learn from them that innate power. They brought it out, and let us also feel our innate power and salute them and show our power whenever it is necessary. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. When we speak about so many dynasties, so many kingdoms and so many kings, an eventful and a tragical event took place in Jallianwala Bagh, which killed thousands of people at Amritsar. In those days, the commoners used to meet, discuss, and plan out what they should do against the Britishers. So the Britishers, they understood this is the people's power and they wanted to snub them, and they said people cannot come together. In one of such occasions, to talk about it, in Jallianwala Bagh, a big crowd, thousands of people came together and they all were discussing there. Suddenly, General Dyer, with handful 50 soldiers, he came into the Jallianwala Bagh. They say it was actually compound wall was around it, Jallianwala Bagh, and he closed the door so that nobody can go anywhere, and he did not even give any warning. He started shelling. He started shooting everybody. Old people were there, women were there, children were there. Thousands and thousands of people were there. Of course, Britishers said only few hundred were died and few hundred got injuries, but Congress that time, they have come out and they have listed out that thousands and thousands of people died and thousands of... There was a big well. They say, I went and saw Jallianwala Bagh, felt how the massacre would have taken place because the walls are still with the bullet holes. There's a big well. It was a dry well. People jumped in it, and so it was a stampede on one each other. Many of them died like that also. They could not go anywhere. They had to run hither and give up their life. All. General Dyer did not stop till he finished all his rounds of 6,000 bullets. Of course, afterwards they have taken a case against him and they removed him. All that they did. But what is the use? He has done it. What should not be done? And this incident, it happened on 13th April 1990. And we cannot forget this day, dear friends. 13th April 1919 is a black day for Indians, which we should not forget this massacre. This makes us to think of our country again. People who were there were the common people and ordinary people, lay people. Many of them were very poor people too. They didn't do anything. They were only standing and were hearing what is going to happen. And unnecessarily they all were killed. If people are getting killed, why not we really fight back that Britishers who just killed us for no reason? And this massacre actually made a turning in the thought of people for freedom. And then started lot of mutinies. There was a way to go, and we really fought afterwards for 35 years to get the country in our hands. Let us all pay our tributes to everybody who died in that Jallianwala Bagh, because each one of them was a freedom struggler there, and each one of them have given their life for this country. And let us all salute them and pay our tributes to them. May their souls rest in peace. Thank you. Namaste. Vande Mataram. Dear friends, India did not become independent that easily. Britishers never gave us freedom that easily. After the massacre of Jallianwala Bagh, people seriously thought about their freedom. Most of them, they came out. They have also heard that food items were having the animal fat, and it has been given to everybody. That incident also made them to come out and fight with Britishers. The first thing Gandhiji thought, it is now the time is to go and start talking to people and first thing is, if we stop paying tax to them, then they will hear. So the first step Gandhiji took was, he said, don't pay tax for salt. Salt is our food and don't pay for it. And then salt satyagraha started. This is a turning point for the freedom struggle too. Salt satyagraha started, many people joined hands, especially Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Balagangadhar Tilak, or even from Rajaji and people, Patel, all started coming together. Sarojini Naidu, they have come and then they started giving hand. Salt Satyagraha was immediate, it caught like a fire. So everywhere people started. Britishers harassed the people who were doing. They started making their own salt. They went to sea, they took the water and they started making their own salt. They were not allowing people to make the salt, but still they were. And thousands of people got imprisoned. Salt Satyagraha was a turning point for the freedom struggle, and it was a declaration to people that we are going to have a self-rule. But still it was going on, and people from all walks of life joined hands with Gandhiji. And this Salt Satyagraha cannot be forgotten because it led to many of the other mutinies and many of the struggles. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind. Vande Mataram. After 1929, after Salt Satyagraha, Gandhiji has announced for a total independence. They didn't want to have any compromise anywhere. So Satyagraha started. He said, don't use foreign goods. So everybody started burning their foreign clothes. Everywhere, even in police, military, everywhere there was mutinies. Even in the navy there was a mutiny. Each one started, disobedience started, and disobedient movement started. And Satyagraha, the word Satyagraha caught up so like a wildfire that people started. The patriotism, the blood which had in them, it came out. The real patriotism we see in the 30s and 40s. Britishers were also facing another problem, is the World War I and World War II. We helped them. Subhash Chandra Bose, he said, no, let us not help, let us fight Britishers and take the country now. But Gandhiji said, no, let us help them. So we did help Britishers in the Second World War, but within the country, we were against them. Simon wanted to come, they said, go back, Simon. Quit India movement started. They said, we want total independence, no where to be asking for small thing. They didn't want to compromise anywhere. Now a commoner like Gandhiji came up, every person walked. He went and met farmers, and all the farmers were in the front. He went and met the high political leaders, and they all were next to him. He walked all over the country, and Satyagraha, like a wildfire, it took. Then Britishers have to think, and we got the independence. We got independence after so many struggles, so many mutinies. But everything is not just only the political leaders and all, but a commoner, an Indian, got independence. Every Indian, when they were there before 1947, fought for independence. And dear friend, we all have to not only salute but appreciate the Indian before independence who fought for this country. Today I request every Indian, whoever is there anywhere in the world, to think of this country. It was a great country which flourished. It came down. We are now 65-year-old independent India, almost 65 years. Now this is the 65th year. And we are marching. The younger generation are real good. They have awareness, and I request the younger generation to take the reins in their hand and march ahead in every field and make this country proud and say that this country will shine. Thank you. Namaste. Jai Hind.